They are unchanged from the side that beat Scotland on Wednesday. But as Alexander Karavayev was saying only yesterday, sport is sport. We don't expect any presence from Wales, but it's the most important game of our lives. But that actually, from a footballing sense, Sam, works for both, because this is an opportunity for somebody like Gareth Bale, who's won the lot, La Liga, the Champions League. This is a chance for him to get to a World Cup.
It is indeed. Ukraine, I think, are everyone's second nation now. Any neutral today, I'm sure they want Ukraine to go through for obvious reasons. There's 11 players out on that pitch now, getting in a huddle, talking to each other, giving last-minute instructions or last-minute motivation as to why they want to win this game.
They dedicated the win against Scotland for those in the armed forces who are in the trenches. Yarmolenko with his words of wisdom, as it's a long, long huddle there for Ukraine in the blue against Wales in the all-red, for a side that is unbeaten here at home in 18 games. And it's winner takes all here in Wales for the 13th and final European spot for the World Cup. A place in the Football League is at stake at West Ham Stadium. Grimsby Solihull Moors has gone to extra time. That's 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes. Could we here have extra time, or will it be settled in the 90? Our referee is Antonio Macio Lahoz from Spain, and the bald-headed referee gets us underway with Ukraine playing from right to left. And you're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, and maybe also via BBC Sounds. So much at stake as Ukraine, with Malinovsky on the attack. Mykolenko joins the attack with a crossing from the left-hand side. Zinchenko started very, very strongly, Ukraine. I have an abiding memory of Hampden on Wednesdays, that when Dobbik, the substitute, scored in the last minute to seal the 3-1 win, there were some of the Ukrainian players who were just so flat out on their feet, Jane, that they actually couldn't celebrate. And yet here, once again, a strong start. Yeah, make no bones about this. There's going to be a high percentage of this game today where Wales don't have the football, and we're going to have to defend really well, you know, in that organised 5-2-3 defensive block, which we're in right now. And then we've got to make good decisions to come out of that and press and hopefully win it and counter-attack. That's what we've been about now over many, many months, and that's our game, and hopefully we'll get opportunities to do that today. That's the former Wales team manager, Jane Ludlow, MBE. Don't forget those. Thanks for that, yeah. Tennis in the post, I hope. Mykolenko for Ukraine. Sam Ricketts, another former Welsh international, with us as well here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Matvienko. Wales just drop off. Matvienko, the central defender for Ukraine. Out to Mykolenko, the Everton left-back. Forward ball, Zinchenko forward. He was outstanding against Scotland on Wednesday night. And now this is with Sihankov inside, slip from Malinovsky, quickly back to his feet as the torrential rain continues to fall here in Wales. Oh, that was a late challenge from Allen, and a yellow card is brandished by the referee. Yellow card in the opening 2 minutes. Yeah, not a good start for Wales, not been able to get hold of the ball. Ukraine moving the ball very well. Wales happy to sit deep, but what that's going to do is going to frustrate the supporters. We want to keep this atmosphere going. Don't let the game get died. So we need to get hold of the ball like we do and actually pass it. We intercepted it a couple of times, just gave it straight back to Ukraine. I don't think we've got a pass away as yet. Shot comes in. Oh! The referee says no, it's got to be retaken. They took a quick free kick, but Antonio Macio Lahoz was not ready. He's having a word with Zinchenko. Even some of the Ukrainian players were not ready. It was Zinchenko who hit it left-footed, but the referee has ruled it out, and he had a word with a Manchester City player. Wales just need to liven up a little bit. Like I said, Ukraine has started well, and they've started brighter mentally as well as physically. So it's a free kick. It's a good 40 yards out. Judging by the run-up here, Malinovsky's going to have an effort. There's some Ukrainian supporters in front of us have actually stood up and lifting their flags, so it's hard to actually see a way towards our left-hand side. Malinowski, long-range free kick. Moved a little bit in the air, but Hennessy actually made a good save.
Oh, there's some power behind that. I'm kind of glad it was straight into the mid-rib of the goalkeeper, to be fair. Hennessy did well to keep hold of it.
Wales now on the attack. James looking for the run of Ramsey through the midfield. Zabani, the teenage defender, gets there. It's lifted into the penalty box over on that far side by Williams, and out it goes for a throw to Ukraine. What do you both think about the goal that was disallowed?
Well, the referee was unmoved, and he blew his whistle straight away and said he wasn't ready for it. He hadn't put his little bit of spray foam down on the floor, and he hadn't put it down for the Wales defence, so he was adamant that he hadn't allowed play to start, and there was he killed the celebrations very quickly.
As a Welsh person, I'm relieved. As a Ukrainian, I'd be fuming.
Here is Ben Davies stepping forward out of defence. Kiefer Moore with control, coming short, lays it out to Nico Williams, far side to left for Wales, all in red. In comes the cross, and then Williams tries to hook the ball back in towards the penalty area, cleared away by Malinowski over on that far side. Yaramchuk tries to come back out to help out his Ukrainian defence. Ampadu's forward ball, Gareth Bale central area, captain of Wales. Out it goes now towards James. James on the left-hand side. It's a lifted ball in towards the penalty area. See Hancock stoops to head it away. Picked back up by Allen. Strong pressure. Ben Davies from long range takes a deflection behind for a corner.
Yeah, this is better from Wales. You can hear the supporters getting up now. That's what I was saying. If you can keep the pressure on, keep the tempo up, the supporters remain with the team.
Done.
For the first 2.5 minutes, Wales were all over the place and it was frantic, and for the next 2.5 it's been the opposite.
Just think if we go beyond the 90, there'll be a few nerves that will be in tatters towards the end. The Spanish referee is just having a word now with Stepanenko. My experience of this Spanish referee is that he does like to make it all about himself, and he's trying to put his own stamp on it. In comes the corner kick from the left-hand side. Bushchan got something on it. Allen, with his back to goal, plays it back out to Roberts. Roberts curls in a cross, headed away by Zabani, picked up by James for Wales, left-hand side, stands over the cross. It's a deep one. Bale is there, brings it under control with 2 excellent touches, and then runs it out for a goal kick, 0-0.
Well, look, I think we're seeing a trend of the game today. I think we're going to see delivery after delivery and targeting the Ukrainian goalkeeper today, and hopefully, get a slip up there and get some reactions and get some early goals.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just with Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore's got a great goal scoring record first and foremost for Wales, but so far, saying there 5 minutes into the game, 6 minutes, Wales have already put 4 or 5 crosses in looking for Kiefer Moore around that back post. Now they've all been overhit or underhit. Nothing's gone in anywhere near him yet, but it's certainly a tactic Wales are looking at.
Bushchan was susceptible on a couple of occasions, to put it mildly, at Hampden Park on Wednesday in the second half. One opportunity that John McGinn really should have profited from close range, and in fact the second error actually led to Callum McGregor's goal that reduced the arrears as Scotland looked in vain for an equaliser. We're level here, 6.5 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live in Cardiff, under the leaden skies where the rain continues to fall. Roberts of Burnley, closed down by Zinchenko, all in red, playing from left to right. Ampadu to Bale. Nikolenko staying tight towards him, and then Bale plays the ball out towards Williams. Yarmolenko can't get there. Williams comes on the inside and shoots low and off target, and it goes behind for a goal kick, but it's a good spell for Wales.
Yeah, and another trend that we've seen in Gareth Bale's game over the last few years is it's not just about him turning up and scoring goals, he creates as well. When he does get under pressure and there's that middle area of the pitch, he swings a lovely left foot ball out to the wide area there, and I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of that today as well.
Said to Colin earlier on in terms of the presence of Gareth Bale for this World Cup qualifying campaign. 6 games, 488 minutes, 5 goals and 3 assists. He's averaging a goal involvement every 61 minutes. As Yarmolenko forward on the right-hand side. Malinowski taking over now is Karavayev, who shoots and forces a save from Hennessy. Low down to his left, turns it behind for a corner.
Very much an end-to-end game. As soon as either team gets in the opposition's final third, they look threatening. Both keepers forced into early saves.
Thing is, as well, I guess, with the wet conditions, the greasy surface, it's going to be awkward for keepers.
Yeah, they're hitting it low, and hopefully for that bounce just before the goalkeeper.
Zinchenko to take the corner kick for Ukraine. Far side, playing from right to left. Plays it out to Sihankov. Right corner of the area, delivers a dipping ball that the goalkeeper seemed to get too much underneath, and then an outstretched arm has been turned behind for a corner, Sam.
Good job, he's 6'5", Wayne Hennessy, just got his fingertips to it like you said. He was well under the ball, backpedaled as quick as he could and just palmed it, luckily wide of the advancing Ukrainian forward.
Not too sure whether it took a deflection.
It did, to be fair to him. It took quite a big deflection, which made it look like his positioning was all wrong.
Corner to Ukraine near side. Zinchenko and Sihankov looking for the short one on this near side. Sihankov it is, who whips it in. Rodon with a header away. No foul on Gareth Bale, says the Spanish referee. Mykolenko, Zinchenko, back with the Everton defender on the halfway line. We've been playing for 9 minutes here in Cardiff for what really was two rousing renditions of the national anthems of both Wales and Ukraine. And the 1,800 Ukrainian supporters in that away allocation are making themselves heard. Here is Zabani, teenage defender, almost at a walking pace. Moore will run towards his fellow number 13. Now you can't hear the Ukrainian support. Back with Zabani, comfortable on the ball, comes in forward, little slip from James. Stepanenko plays it back, now to Zinchenko. Yarmolenko once again has come central. We saw him do that on a number of occasions in midweek. And his ball from a central area back to Matvienko, keeping the ball very, very well.
Yeah, and what they do well, right, against a low block, and similar against Scotland, they're happy to just switch play, keep possession of the ball, go back, switch play, and keep moving the opponent from right to left, and hope that somebody makes a mistake. And as Wales have just done there, centrally opened up space right in the edge of the box.
And Zinchenko out to Karabayev with a cross, charged down, comes out to Malinovsky, controls it, couldn't get the shot away off his left foot, dispossessed by Ramsey, plays it out to Roberts. And the right wing back for Wales chips it long, and then it's easily dealt with by Matvienko. All of a sudden there just feels a little bit of a lull in the game now.
Yeah, what we're seeing is whichever team has possession, because of the contrast in formations, that team is dominating the other one. So, like Jane was just saying there, Wales's weak point in this position is there's only Joe Allen and Aaron Ramsey playing as a midfield 2 against 3. So therefore, if they do get pulled one side to the other very quickly...
Ball played forward, Yaramchuk onside, Yaramchuk in the penalty area, Yaramchuk with a low shot, and the goalkeeper lost it initially, and then pounced on the ball as it spilled out of his grasp, 8 yards out from goal. He was onside.
That was a very disorganised backline for Wales. We got lucky there.
Thing is though, Sam, when you're talking there about the two in midfield, Yarmolenko will often come in off that right side as well to create the extra player in the midfield.
Yes, they just literally overload. It's nothing Joe Allen or Aaron Ramsey are doing wrong, but there's only 2 of them. So when there's 3 or 4 other players in the similar area, they can only mark, obviously, 2 at a time.
Mistake. That was from Rodon, who quickly apologises. A little bit nervy.
Yeah, and just adding on to what Sam said, there'll be lots of times in this game when we're defending in our own half, we're going to look like a 5-4-1 organisation, you know, 1 point player and everybody else trying to get ball side and narrow and obviously restrict the space for Ukraine to play through.
The worry there is you don't want Gareth Bale doing too much work defensively, so as he's playing as a wide area, you don't want him playing as nearly doubling up with Connor Roberts at right back. You want him higher up the pitch.
Well, there was Roberts going in for the aerial duel, which was stroked then out to this near side by Zinchenko. The rain continues to fall. Still 0-0. We've been playing now for nearly 13 minutes here in Cardiff. Back to Hennessy, who played the second half against Poland in midweek in the Nations League. The most capped Welsh goalkeeper. It's his 102nd cap today. As the Ukrainian supporters, it's a bouncing wall of yellow and blue, not just in that far side of the corner, but the pocket who are right in front of us here. Great noise, as I'm sure it's coming through the radio. Malinovsky back now with Matvienko, passing it forward to Zinchenko, lays it off to Malinovsky. Dark-haired midfielder of Atalanta looks up, looks for Karavayev, interception with a header from Nico Williams, but Zabani covering the run of Karavayev and actually has the presence of mind to let it just run out of play for a Ukrainian throw.
Yeah, the game's just settling down now, both sides feeling each other out. Ukraine with possession, trying to see how to break Wales down, and Wales just getting comfortable in their shape. There's nothing wrong with Ukraine having the ball. They're around the halfway line or even in their own half. They're not hurting us with it. So if this is the game plan, don't get frustrated with it. Just stick to it and wait for us to get the ball. And when we do, it's really important that Joe Allen and Aaron Ramsey use their ability and experience to keep the ball, twist out of situations and keep it.
Wales are attacking now. It's with Roberts. Plays it short and forward. Right side of the penalty area for Bale. Back to Roberts once again. Every outfield player is in the Ukraine half towards our right-hand side. Roden to his Tottenham teammate Ben Davies. Back with Roden once again. Didn't really feature a great deal for Tottenham, just the 10 appearances this season. Only 3 substitute appearances in the Premier League. Davies, mind you, he did ever so well for Tottenham as a regular starter, establishing himself under Antonio Conte. James. Now it's Ukraine who drop off in their all-blue. Joe Allen to Bale on this right touchline. See, Hancock will track his every move. As Gareth Bale comes forward now, see Hancock still with him. Ramsey a little touch. Back inside to Ramsey, right corner of the area. Turns away. Ramsey waits. Blocked by Zinchenko. Roberts keeps the ball in play. Alexander Petrikov, the 64-year-old coach of Ukraine, is wanting Ukraine to come out. He thinks that they're sitting a little bit too deep as Bale takes over once again and then tries that switch of play that Sam and Jane were talking about. Karavayev, though, with the interception, now towards Yaramchuk, tries to go on the outside of Rodon, who recovers in these wet conditions and glides away and passes the ball now out towards Williams, feeds it forward, left-hand side, James attacking for Wales. 6 yards up from the byline, dancing around the ball. Zabani prevents the cross from coming in, concedes the corner.
Yeah, good start for Joe Rodon there. It's always nice. Ball got played in behind. If you have a foot race with the opposite numbers, in that instance it was a centre forward. When you win that foot race, it gives you confidence to defend for the rest of the game, high up the pitch, knowing you can always get back and make that tackle if needed.
Corner kick then that James is going to take on that far side. Ukraine have every blue shirt bar 2 in their own penalty area, and the 2 on that far side were to deal with the short corner which has been taken, lifted in by Williams, and the goalkeeper again very suspect. He's actually gone down holding his right ankle, but that won't do his confidence any good.
Yeah, to be fair, every time the ball goes in high, I've got a little bit of a smile on my face. It hasn't formed for us yet, but you're not really sure what he's going to do.
Well, he went to punch it and it wasn't convincing at all. I think he actually fell awkwardly, which is why he may have jarred the right ankle. Good contest though, isn't it? I'm all right, I'm neutral, I can enjoy it.
It's a high intensity, 17 minutes so far. That's definitely how I'd class it. You know, at either end. I think there were a few lads with hands on their hips just now, you know, enjoying the fact that they'd gone out for a dead ball.
So much at stake. 0-0, BBC Radio 5 Live. Header forward by Roberts, then guided back by the head of Mykolenko. Matvienko plays it forward. Stepanenko brings the ball under control. He will just sit there in front of that back 4 and shield the Ukrainian defence as the ball is switched out to Karavayev, who spoke so well yesterday. Unable to communicate with his family because the internet has gone down, but he is able to get messages for their loved ones back home. And I'm sure, and what is it, the 102nd day since the Russian invasion, there would have been that trepidation with the news of further attacks on the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, this morning. but yet these players are just so focused on the task in hand. Nico Williams unable to keep the ball in play. It prevents it from going out for what would have been a Ukrainian goal kick. Instead it will be a Ukrainian throw down by the corner flag and in front of that throng of Ukrainian supporters. But it's hard to get away from the backdrop of what's going on back in Ukraine. But we talked before about Buschan, the Ukrainian goalkeeper, jarring his ankle. He's still feeling it, that right foot.
I have to say I was a little bit dubious when he went down on his ankle. I thought there's a typical goalkeeper, missed the punch and pretends he hurt his ankle in the time, but it's looking now actually he might actually hurt his ankle as the medics run on.
Well, they will have, in terms of a backup, Andrei Piatov, who is 37 years of age but is Ukraine's most capped goalkeeper. Meanwhile, as this treatment takes place here in Cardiff, where it remains Wales 0, Ukraine 0, it's half-time in extra time in the National League playoff final. Grimsby Town, Solihull Moors. Aaron Paul.
It is Grimsby 1, Solihull Moors 1. The goals, Ian, seem so long ago. Both sides looking very leggy with the vast London Stadium pitch, meaning that there are some seriously tired legs out there. We're 15 minutes away from penalties, but more importantly 15 minutes away from finding out who will be entering the Football League next season. It is Grimsby 1, Solihull Moors 1.
And it's 0-0 here in Cardiff. Buschan is able to continue after getting treatment, but the ball is in the arms of Wayne Hennessy, the 35-year-old. Only made 3 appearances for Burnley, who of course relegated from the Premier League during the season. Moore with a flick on. Bale finds an area of space and he went for goal. As soon as the ball settled, you knew he had one thing on his mind, and that was to go for goal from distance.
Yeah, and the last passage of play highlights, well, tactically, one of the main things we're trying to do tonight. We're seeing Gareth Bale float inside a lot, so he's becoming an extra kind of attacking midfielder in build-up play a lot of the time. And the outlet, the width, is actually being kept by Daniel James. It's why so far in this game, 20 minutes in, so many of our attacks have come in the wide areas on the left-hand side.
Ukraine playing out from the back, not afraid of the 3 Wales players who were poised and ready to go on the edge of the area. However, Wales have won it back with Roberts back to Rodon just outside the centre circle, and that's a ball that goes well over the head of Nico Williams and out for a Ukraine throw. How would you call it, these opening 21 minutes, Sam?
Yeah, 50-50. I think Wales are still the ones settling in. He's just see Aaron Ramsey there just tell Joe Rodon, sorry, just to relax. He's trying to hit a 40-50 yard diagonal out to Nico Williams. He said, just relax, give me the ball, give the ball to the players who handle the ball in the situations in tight areas. Joe Allen, Aaron Ramsey can keep the ball.
Mikolenko back on the halfway line, finds Zinchenko left of the centre circle. Zabani, both full-backs are pushed on. Karavayev with a little touch inside to Yarmolenko, goes astray. Malinovsky tries to win it back and succeeds. Yarmolenko joining the attack, now with Zinchenko just outside the D. Finds Tihankov inside the penalty area. It might fall here to a couple of Ukrainian players. One of them was Yarmolenko, and the other one was Karavayev, who joined the attack. Had a second bite at it and didn't really pose enough problems to Wayne Hennessy. But they're not afraid of getting players forward.
No, they're not. Both teams committing players forward, like I said, but an ultimate block. I think it was Ben Davies. How many times does he get his body on the line for Wales? And he's done it again there.
That last attack, though, does highlight the strengths of Ukraine. Really good combination play in the attacking third. You saw it against Scotland, and we're seeing it again today against Wales.
The voice of Jane Ludlow and Sam Ricketts with us here on BBC Radio 5. There's more forward for Wales, but outnumbered by the blue shirts of Ukraine. And then the back pass to Buschan. He's got too much underneath that in the driving rain. Little slip there by Malinovsky, helped out by Stepanenko, drills the ball low downfield. Rodon with a challenge on Yaramchuk. Picked up by Allen in the centre circle. The Welsh support certainly enjoyed that crunching challenge. Mind you, doesn't take much to get this crowd fired up, does it?
No, they're eager, aren't they? Any strong challenge or tackle or good pass or shot, everyone's on their feet.
Allen sends Ramsey away, right-hand side. Ramsey's cross on the run. James couldn't get there, and it was too far ahead of keeper Moore, who was a couple of yards behind that delivery. But it was an excellent cross on the run from Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, and Aaron Ramsey was actually playing a little bit deeper for us today, believe it or not. Hopefully we still see him, in the attacking third, which we did there out on the right-hand side. But he has a massive defensive job for us today, playing in midfield alongside Joe Allen. There's just the two of them in there. We've mentioned already, when we're defending, he has a huge job. But, he might pull a goal out as well.
It was his goals that secured qualification to the last Euros for Aaron Ramsey, as Roberts tries to weave his way past, first of all, Stepanenko and then Mikolenko. Complains to the assistant referee. It'll be a Ukrainian throw-in on this near side. And here comes our referee just to have a word with Connor Roberts, as Ukraine wait to take the throw deep inside their own half. 24 minutes played on 5 Live, and it's still goalless. Penny for the thoughts of Aaron Ramsey if it was to go to a penalty shootout as well. Bearing in mind he missed the decisive kick when Rangers lost in Seville against Eintracht Frankfurt. Mind you, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. There's still a long way to go. As it's a free kick to Ukraine, corner of their own area, that is played out by Matvienko to Zabani. Played 20 of the last 26 internationals now, this teenager, getting a lot of experience. As the ball played up towards Yaramchuk, lays it off to Zinchenko, now out to Sihankov on this near side, the left. Zinchenko provides the support, but they're forced to go back are Ukraine. Zabani outside the centre circle. Karavayev waits on that far side. Yaramchuk drops the ball into the feet of Sihankov, going into a central area. Zinchenko's going to shoot from distance. That was blocked by Ampadu. Ampadu's actually gone down as the ball has gone out of play for a throw.
And there's been a couple of occasions so far in this game where Ukraine have exploited that space on the outside shoulder of the two central midfielders, as we spoke about earlier. We've got Joe Allen and Alan Ramsey in there defensively for us today, and they exploit that space just on the outside shoulder of one of them, so behind our front three. So you get the likes of Gareth Bale and Daniel James got a massive job to do defensively to help those two out today.
Still 0-0, 26 minutes played on 5 Live. Matvienko to Zabani, runs into the centre circle, just stops short of the halfway line. Matvienko takes over along the ground now to Stepanenko. Ahead of him is Mikolenko, the left back. Very fluid in the midfield. Stepanenko just doesn't sit there in front of the back four. He drifts out towards the left. Zinchenko rotates and moves around as well. And they're very accomplished on the ball, these Ukrainian footballers. Not more so than Zabani for such a tall central defender as Zinchenko. On that right-hand side, it'll be a Ukrainian throw. But they're not phased at all, Sam.
No, they're not. They're very set in their ways. Very much like Wales. You can see they're so long undefeated. They've got their patterns of play. We spoke already about how they're overloaded in the middle, but even in general, how they use the back three. Like you said there, the midfielders rolling now into false fullback positions. So that means when the fullback goes forward and the midfielders goes where a fullback would normally be and get possession of the ball to get them playing again.
Sihankov once again coming into that central area. Yarmolenko had also gone central, couldn't get it quite forward to Yaramchuk. Zabani to Zinchenko. Forward ball, but there's nobody there on the end of Zinchenko's left-footed pass, and it's going to run through towards Hennessy. And in fact, Malinowski just has a word of trying to be a steadying influence there in the midfield. There's been a goal now at the London Stadium, Aaron Paul.
Grimsby 2, Solihull Moors 1. This is poor defending from Moors. A long throw into the area. There's a defensive header, and it fell to the back post for Jordan Maguire. Drew to lash home past the goalkeeper. 2-1 Grimsby lead, 9 minutes to go.
Coming from behind, Grimsby Town then to lead Solihull Moors 2-1. If you missed it earlier, England won the first test on the 4th day, thanks to Joe Root, who knocked up an unbeaten 115, 10,000 runs in Test cricket in the process, as they won by 5 wickets. As Yaramchuk releases Sihankov. Sihankov in the penalty area, and Sihankov has placed it wide. Now the flag is raised. It wouldn't have counted. It was a late flag. But in the end, it was a good foot wide.
Yeah, but I'm getting a bit nervous here now, Ian, because we're living dangerously. Half space, right? So not the wide areas, just inside the wide areas of the pitch. Ukraine, the movement in there, the patterns they're playing is causing us a huge problem. Decisions about backline, we've made a good decision there in the sense of he's offside. But there's been 3 occasions in the last couple of minutes where they've managed to exploit those spaces.
Don't worry, Jane. Ben Davies had it all under control. His arm went straight up like Tony Adams. No need to run back anymore.
So if anybody could see us right now, I'm really on edge, half standing, half sitting on my seat, and Sam's there, arms crossed, really relaxed. So I'm hoping it's a good listen for everybody. 2 people in very different emotional states right now.
And it is still 0-0. It could be a long old evening. Malinowski charges forward with the interception. Carries the ball almost to the edge of the area, out towards Yarmolenko, brings it under control of his left foot, clips over the cross, required Ampadu to get the ball away. Ukraine really were putting Wales under serious pressure. Karavayev, right hand side, back towards Zinchenko. Zinchenko turns. Tried to carve the ball forward to Malinowski. Yarmolenko's actually gone down on that far side. Zinchenko wins the ball back. Zinchenko with a shot, saved by Hennessy. Got his body behind that. Good save actually towards his right-hand side. It's just starting to dip a little bit.
Yeah, it is. James right, we do have to make sure we defend properly. I say that in jest just now, but we do have to make sure that as a 5 we defend properly. There are good runners in behind. It goes up to the centre forward. He sets it back to a midfielder who then slides a wide player running through.
I don't wish to add to your nerves, Jane, but this is taking on a very similar feel to Hampden, where Ukraine are creating the better chances as they did before they took the lead against Scotland. Zinchenko waits 30 yards out from goal, inside. Stepanenko passes the ball now to Karavayev on that far side, the right, all in blue, playing from right to left. The little flick here, Sihankov is there, Hennessy quickly comes off his goal line, behind for a corner kick. Wales are on the back foot.
If I can briefly try and explain to people what Ukraine are doing really well right now. They've got a really fluid front 3 and a narrow front 3. So like we've said earlier, midfield for Wales is a 2 and it's a central 2. Those wide players for Ukraine are just sitting on the outside of those 2 and they are picking the ball up in so much space.
Hennessy is by far the busier of the 2 goalkeepers, despite the concerns in the air of Bushchan at the other end. But Ukraine have a corner kick. Right hand side, Malinowski to Zinchenko, back to Malinowski, fires the ball in, comes off an outstretched leg of keeper Moore back there helping out, and then the ball is lifted long, and now Mykolenko with a raised arm has curved the run of James and gets a yellow card, and the referee knew exactly what Mykolenko was doing.
And so did Dan James. He knew what he's doing. He's just bought Wales a lovely free kick there, just to reset, get everyone back together again after we've had a little bit of 5 minutes worth of pressure there. Rob Page just talking to a few players, just trying to get a few tactics back in together and just trying to nullify Ukraine, because they have just come on strong in the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and the actions from Robert Page then onto the pitch was very much about getting narrow and compact, and I'm guessing he's talking to his midfield right now.
Still 0-0 on 5 Live. Hennessy hoists it high. Bouncing ball on that far side of the pitch, headed forward and then helped out of play by Yarmolenko.
I feel like we need some singing now in the stadium, guys. Not that I'm going to start it, but I definitely feel like somebody needs to start something here from a fan perspective for the guys on the pitch.
I'm glad you said from a fan perspective. You wouldn't want me singing. I only know Deacon Blue. Throw on that far side. 0-0. How are you with you singing?
You don't want to hear mine.
Ampadu hits a long ball forward. Headed away by Karavayev. Picked up by Moore, left corner of the area. Moore plays it in low. Matvienko clears on the edge of his 6-yard box. Yarmolenko keeps the ball in play. Only back towards James. Was there a foul? Yes, there was. He was just caught, James, by Malinowski. No yellow card shown by the Spanish referee, but this certainly is in within shooting distance of a direct free kick for Wales.
Yep, opposite side for Gareth than he did for the Austria game, but he's straight over and picking that ball up. Again, there's Wales that seem to be on a little bit more joy just by missing the press and actually going longer into Kiefer Moore. and winning the second ball and playing from there. This is what's happened the last couple of attacks, ending up with what will be a shooting opportunity for Gareth Bale, I'm sure.
We're 24 yards out from goal. It's left of centre. Gareth Bale takes several steps back and then one large step to the right. Ukraine have everybody back in the penalty area, all in blue. Bustian might not get a good sight of this. Gareth Bale left-footed! It's got it! Wales lead by a goal to nil. It may well have taken a deflection on its way through, but Gareth Bale takes the acclaim of the crowd. The kick came off Yarmolenko. The Welsh supporters inside this Cardiff City Stadium do not care a jot, because Wales are leading by a goal to nil, and it's that man Gareth Bale.
It is again a free kick. I think it was actually a ball into the box. I think a defender's diving header took it back into his own goal, but no one cares in this stadium. Jane just said someone needed to do something in this stadium, and my instant reaction was there's one man on the pitch who wears number 11 who can do something at any time, and he just has.
Those deliveries from Gareth Bale are dangerous, you know, even when they're not on target. The power, and as that ball moves, look, Yarmolenko's thinking he's doing the right thing here and getting first contact, but the power on it, it's a great goal for us.
It'll go down as an own goal from Andrei Yarmolenko. He was trying to head the ball away, but Wales are leading by a goal to nil. Yarmolenko, who scored the opening goal at Hangden on Wednesday night, has done so here. However, he's just put through his own net, and it's Wales who lead by a goal to nil. You have to feel for the Ukrainian captain. 1-0 then to Wales. The noise is deafening. How do Ukraine respond? Stepanenko short of the halfway line. Forward, Mykolenko heads it back. Sihankov. No foul, says the referee as he went to ground. Ball cleared long, headed forward by Zabani. Zinchenko outside the centre circle of his own half now, as he runs forward, sprays the ball out towards Karavayev, right hand side. Yarmolenko now coming in off that right touchline. Malinovsky back towards Zinchenko. Stepanenko has the outlet on this left hand side, that is Mykolenko. Back to Malinovsky, central position midway through the Wales half. Forward ball by Zabani. Karavayev, the right back, midway through the Wales half. Wales drop off at the moment, quite happy to let Ukraine have the ball here. Zabani along the ground to Yaramchuk. Zinchenko wins it back in the midfield. Yaramchuk's also battling for it. And then Williams lets the ball settle and hits it long. Over the head, though, of keeper Moore, and touched back by Matvienko. And then Zabani under pressure from keeper Moore. And it's going to be a Wales throw.
Instantly you look at the clock, you don't want to start hanging on, but there's 9 minutes to go to half-time. It would be a great achievement if we could get in at 1-0 up here. The Wales have to manage this game and keep pushing on as well. Don't sit back, because Ukraine will pick our pockets at some point.
Throw from Ukraine. Throw from Wales on that far side. Now it's with Ampadu at the heart of the Wales defence to Roberts. Roberts hits it forward to Gareth Bale. Bale takes Matvienko with him. Matvienko comes away with the ball to Zinchenko. Back to the defender. His forward ball. Malinovsky hadn't read that, and it was easily played forward by Ben Davies to James, who darts forward for Wales. Loses the ball. Stepanenko can't get there. All getting a little bit frantic in the midfield, and it's going to be a free kick to Wales.
Yep. There's a lot being asked of Joe Allen and Ramsey, like we said many times. Joe just needs to be careful. He got booked in the first minute or so. He has to be very, very careful. He's gone in, he's won the free kick, don't get me wrong, but the greasy surface, players flying in, he needs to make sure he uses his head and knows when he can put his foot in and when he can't.
Well, this is about 10 yards forward of the centre circle in the Ukrainian half. Gareth Bale has placed it down. Ukraine have got quite a high line outside their penalty area. Moore, Rodon, Davis, the natural targets. Quite a flat ball in towards Rodon, and it'll be a goal kick. Wales lead by a goal to nil. Jane Ludlow.
The last few minutes has been very transitional, you know, both teams giving the ball away not fairly easily. They've been good challenges, you know, the press from each team is decent, but Wales having the best of that transitional game right now.
It's been a long time for Wales, 64 years, but they are looking at a first World Cup appearance since 1958. Ukraine are looking for an equaliser. Zinchenko, Malinovsky scoops the ball forward. Williams tucked in as a left wing back with a header away. Now Williams brings the ball away towards James. Eventually it reaches him. Malinovsky goes with him. James glides away from him. Wales are coming forward now. James seemed to run into Zabani. No foul, says the referee. Zinchenko brings it away over the halfway line. Wales still have enough red shirts back. Yarmolenko right hand side. Zinchenko plays the ball forward. In comes the cross from the right hand side. Yarmolenko tries to win it back. He dives inside the penalty area. Shot fired in and almost got past Hennessy from Zinchenko's shot as he spoons the ball behind for a corner kick.
Wales managing to get about 7 or 8 players back in the box there. We win the ball back, but we end up having it pinched back off us.
It's just that bit. We're kind of like, Jane, we're attacking Dan James, Gareth and obviously Keith Moore. We nearly end up defending with 7, with Aaron Ramsey getting back to make it 7, but then the problem is, because our front 3 is still recovering, when they win the ball back, we've actually got no one to pass the ball to. So Joe Allen actually there just got his pocket pick, and was actually lucky not to give away a penalty.
VAR are having a look at this. You can tell by the delay for the corner kick. It was Joe Allen. As Yarmolenko's looking to clear the ball, Yarmolenko did catch the foot of Yarmolenko.
Well, I'm going to go positive vibes here. The referee so far in this game has been good for Wales, in a sense. There's been little tackles he could have picked up and he hasn't.
It's been dismissed as the play will resume. Oh no, it hasn't. He's still waiting, Zinchenko, to take the corner kick. Now they can. So the VAR check must be over. Corner kick for Ukraine, right hand side, comes off the back of the head of Williams. Ramsey waits for the ball to settle, screws it away, and it runs out of play for a Ukraine throw. And we've been playing now for 41 minutes. And Wales lead Ukraine by a goal to nil. Now it's full time at the London Stadium. Grimsby, Solihull Moors, Aaron Paul.
Grimsby 2, Solihull Moors 1. Grimsby have come from a goal down in this game to be promoted back to the Football League. Grimsby 2, Solihull Moors 1.
Thanks, Aaron. More of that at half-time with Colin Murray here on 5 Live Sport, which is about 4 minutes away. Ukraine, Mikolenko, hurried ball. Ampadu will now try and strike it over the head of Mikolenko. Moore has made that run, splashing his way through. You can see a little bit of the surface water coming off the lush green turf here at the Cardiff City Stadium. It's a Ukraine throw. Sam.
Yeah, Keeper Moore's got to do better there. He is the big target man down the middle, and he's pushed Gareth playing that wide. He has to hold that ball up when it comes into it. It was a good ball into him. It's not always been good balls, but that one was. He needs to hold it up and then allow us as a team to get further up the pitch.
Zabani to Karavayev. Malinovsky over the halfway line he comes, edge of the centre circle. Mikolenko on this near side, the left. Little flick there by Yarmolenko, didn't quite reach Sihankov. Malinovsky tries to win it back. Stepanenko goes into the challenge. James then, now he's getting another stern warning. That's twice he's run into a Ukrainian player looking for a free kick.
I'd agree. The first one I think he did. This one, I think that is a foul. I'm not being biased here, I'm sure this is a foul. He's knocked it over his head. And I don't think Dan James, certainly hasn't intentionally run into him, I'm sure he hasn't.
The decision appears, it was straight into Karavayev.
I don't know, I feel bad saying this, but I think he might have run into him.
Having seen the replay, I think I'll agree with you, Jane.
It's something that he has to cut out of his game. We saw it at Leeds United with the simulation. He's got to improve that area of his game, the 24-year-old, and he's just had a stern talking to from a Spanish referee.
You know, you can flip it. When you're looking at young players is positionally in where he plays. He gets kicked. He gets kicked a lot in every game. You know, sometimes you go, is it surprising that he jumps?
The play is back underway. Nothing materialises from that Ukraine free kick. And the ball is cleared long by the Wales defence. Wales still lead by a 0-0, and we've got under 2 minutes of normal time here at the Cardiff City Stadium. Yarmolenko playing the ball back to Matvienko. Now to Mykolenko, 6 yards short of the halfway line. Square back inside, Matvienko. Back it goes to the Everton players. Zinchenko is available if required. Mykolenko will switch it, chested forward there by a twist of the upper body of Yarmolenko towards Karavayev. Cleared though, and Wales are on the attack. And it's with James on the inside towards the run of Ramsey. Zabani though just stepped forward at the right time. Zinchenko now takes over for Ukraine. Passes the ball out towards that far side, and it's with Karavayev who enters the penalty area, and he sends over the cross, and the header from Ampadu has seen it go behind for a corner kick to Ukraine inside the last 60 seconds.
To be honest, I wish I was a neutral, because I would be absolutely loving this game right now as a neutral.
I am. Wales 1-0 up.
If I was Joe Allen, I'd be getting a leash on Aaron Ramsey right now. Stop running forward, come and play next to me here for the next 5 minutes.
Zinchenko to take the corner kick for Ukraine, left-footed in towards the near post, bobbling around inside the 6-yard area and seized upon by the goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy. There was a run towards the near post, a little flick, and that probably could have gone anywhere because it was Fizz with real power.
Yep, just riding our luck here again. We are into the mid-drift and Wayne Hennessy dives on that ball like an NFL player. I would, just use our experience now. We're going into injury time. Midfielders, we spoke about it with lights. Just stay together, stick tight, get into half-time, 1-0 up.
2 minutes of stoppage time that we're now into. Wales lead by a 0-0 here in Cardiff. Roberts forward for the home side. Bale is ahead of him. Matvienko, a little slip, recovered ever so well, down on his knees, just to get enough off the right foot to take it away from Bale. And Stepanenko, who dropped back into the penalty area, then was able to clear out of play for a throw. Ukraine have certainly had chances. Hennessy has been the busier of the two goalkeepers, and a reminder that Ukraine have scored in each of their last 6 away games on this unbeaten run in their last 2 qualifying campaigns for major tournaments. As Bale picks it up, stands over the cross. Zabani just gets there to glance the header away. Williams keeps it in play left-hand side, looking for a second before half-time. Plays it back to Ben Davis. Davis brings it forward, sends over a diagonal cross. Moore's downward header directed away from goal, cleared by Stepanenko. And there is the half-time whistle. Wales 1, Ukraine 0. It's been a good contest in the rain. Oh, in fact, no. Everybody around us was going for the half-time whistle. Bring them back. They're already beating the queues for the Bovril. Play still going on. Surely the 2 minutes are going to be up now, you would think. James picks it up. Moore goes on ahead of him. Moore inside the penalty area. Inside back towards James. James with a shot. Straight at Bushchan. Comfortable height, around chest high, patted down by the goalkeeper. I should have placed my order for the gentleman who's just left in front of us. Could have had a couple of pies and beaten the queue. There's the half-time whistle. 1-0. Your thoughts, Jane and Sam?
I would say Wales have just rode our luck there. A little bit of magic off Gareth Bale. Ukraine have probably just edged the game. I don't know if Jane would agree with me. I think they've been better in possession. They've created more dangerous opportunities. Both keepers have had to make saves. But as a Welshman, I'm delighted.
Yeah, look, we're going great result at the moment, isn't it? One goal up half time. I think there's been moments that highlight the good things we've done over the last few years. You know, our pressing, our defensive game is decent. We work really hard as a unit, and we have attackers on the pitch who can score goals. You know, and Gareth Bale is a game changer, isn't he?
Well, he was certainly heavily involved there. I mean, Hennessy saved from Sihankov, he saved from Yaramchuk, he saved from Zinchenko. Sihankov also shot wide, but it was the Bale free kick that was headed into his own goal by the Ukrainian captain Yarmolenko that is the difference between the two. That was after 34 minutes, at half-time here in Cardiff. It's Wales 1, Ukraine 0. Colin.
Well, the Director General's just sent me a message to say Jane and Sam are officially allowed a stiff drink at half-time. Not you, though, Ian Dennis, but a stiff conversation maybe about the VAR check on a possible penalty for Ukraine. A lot of chatter about that, Ian. Joe Allen's in control of the football. He simply goes to clear it. Yarmolenko, who's been at the centre of everything, comes on his blind side, gets between him and the ball, and there is contact. Deno, for me, if that's a penalty, you're given a penalty for every handball in the box, no matter where your hand is, just because there was contact. Allen was in control of the ball, tried to clear it. I think it would have been soft to give it. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, but hasn't there been one very similar to that in the Premier League this last season, where there was a clearance and then somebody had cleared the ball away? I'm thinking, did it involve Liverpool?
And that sums up the problem, right?
He caught the man, but VAR did have a look at it, and VAR had said that there was no clear and obvious error.
Yeah, the other thought process and big conversation online is that Dan James needs to be very, very careful.
Yeah, he does, and so does Joe Allen. The thing with Dan James is he's not simulating, because he gets a few whacks, but it's more him actually running into the opposition player trying to buy a free kick, where I just wonder with him, he's that quick, why not just actually run round him? But he physically runs into the defender, tries to buy the free kick, and referees aren't falling for it. They're seeing that he's initiating the contact, which is why he's not getting the free kicks.
Sam, would you make any changes at half time?
No, definitely not. Keep it like it is. The only thing I would do, if the game continues like it is, I would consider replacing Kiefer Moore with some legs. Put Gareth down the middle and put some legs either side of Gareth to help out defensively, because Gareth, we want his energy going forward, so as a 9 he wouldn't have to do that. Playing on the right side of a front three like he is at the minute, he does have to get back into midfield and make a midfield 4, and he would just add a little bit more legs up front, because between him and Keeper, they're not the most energetic of the front three.
Well, I think this is one of the rare times when I can say I can't even hear you, the three of you, at half time. When there's no football taking place, it's so loud in there. Jane, I think more than anyone in that commentary position, you need the 10-minute break now.
Yeah, I do need a break, to be fair. But, as I said at the end of the first half, if you are a neutral, this is a great game to be at and be able to watch, because it's a fantastic game of football. There's lots of chances, probably more chances, I believe, for Ukraine than Wales, unfortunately. But, we've scored, which is great, and hopefully it can stay like that now in the second half.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Jane, we must just say finally, and I'll let you get a little break. Ukraine fluffed their lines. A mishit shot from 9-10 yards out. So while they had the favour of the first half, especially before the Wales goal, they did fluff their lines, so to speak.
They did, but it does make me a little bit nervous, the fact that they're getting in there quite frequently. So let's hope that changes.
Thank you so much. We'll be back in Cardiff for the second half live here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Well, listen, you have to choose what you're going to watch, what you're going to listen to. And if you missed the first half between Cyprus and Northern Ireland, well done you. John Akers.
Oh, gosh, that was poor. And Cyprus actually came the closest to scoring right at the end of the half, with the one moment of real quality in the game so far. Katalaris, with a 30-yard effort, smashed off the underside of the crossbar. That's the closest we've come to a goal. Northern Ireland have been the better team, but just haven't created enough. George Saville had a half volley over the crossbar from 8 yards. Charles has looked pretty good on his full senior debut. He started this one. He had a shot deflected wide from 20 yards. 600 fans are having a good time in the heat, though. Bikinis, shirtless, loads of bucket hats. They look like they're having a good time, but at the moment they're not enjoying a good game of football. It's Cyprus 0, Northern Ireland 0 in the Nations League.
And that bikini's just my mate Michael. I saw him on TV just there now. Thank you so much to John Akers. Yes, regardless of how we're playing, we sing when we're winning, we sing when we're losing. There's something fishy going on at the London Stadium today, Aaron Paul.
Yeah, it's an immediate return, Colin, to the Football League for Grimsby. They've come from a goal behind to beat Solihull Moors 2-1 in what has been a titanic contest. Carl Hudlin opened the scoring for Moors with a fantastic downward header in the first half, and then came chance after chance of both sides that before John McAtee equalised with a drilled solo effort. But it was Jordan Maguire, Drew, who latched onto a defensive mistake to divert the ball home with 10 minutes of extra time to go to seal Grimsby's return back into the EFL. They've had a mammoth run to this playoff final, playing extra time in each round in the run up to it, and today they've left it late again to beat Solihull Moors here at the London Stadium by 2-1.
Thank you, Aaron Paul. Delighted for Grimsby Town fans, disappointed for Solihull Moors. Never been, of course, in the top four flights in their short history, it has to be said, but Grimsby fans over the last lot of years had it really tough. So let's hear from you tonight. 08085 909 693 for 606, which will follow Wales-Ukraine. At half-time, Wales lead 1-0. Let's get the latest news with Matt Bone.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Colin. Within the last hour or so, the Queen has made an unexpected appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace at the end of 4 days of Platinum Jubilee celebrations. There was uncertainty about whether the monarch would be seen in public again during the celebrations after she pulled out of other events due to mobility issues. Crowds joined in singing the national anthem as the Queen stood alongside Prince Charles and Prince William. Well, the appearance came at the end of a spectacular and colourful pageant in central London this afternoon, which involved tens of thousands of people. Our royal correspondent, Daniela Relf, is outside Buckingham Palace for us. Daniela, how important a moment was this appearance by the Queen?
I think it was really important and a perfect way to end the Jubilee weekend, giving it a sense of completeness. She has unquestionably been the star of the show, and there was a real desire to see her again after these days of tributes. But she wasn't feeling well after trooping the colour last Thursday, and she's been resting at Windsor Castle, so there was no guarantee that we would see her. But just after 5 o'clock this afternoon, dressed in vivid green, she emerged onto the Buckingham Palace balcony, and amongst those with her, importantly, were her son, grandson and great-grandson. That's Charles, William and George. It is the line of succession, 3 future kings, and that last image of the Jubilee weekend definitely looked to the future.
Yeah, what a way to wrap up 4 days of celebrations. How do you think this Jubilee is going to be remembered?
Well, I think whatever your view of the monarchy, you would have to be quite hard-hearted not to have been touched by some elements of the weekend. Celebrating a moment in history we are unlikely ever to see again. It was a mix of reflection, outright party, and the odd surprise, of course, tea with Paddington last night. It was a chance to see the biggest gathering of the royal family for a number of years, but it was also a reminder of the frailty of the Queen. She's 96, she's less mobile than ever, and we perhaps saw less of her than we thought. But ultimately, it was a celebration of a 70-year reign and 70 years of public service.
Thanks, Daniela. Elsewhere, thousands of people have come together around the country for celebratory lunches, with a number of places vying to win the title of the longest ever street lunch. And in other news, dozens of flights have been cancelled today by airline companies including EasyJet, Wizz Air and BA. Gatwick Airport says 80 flights were cancelled there. The government says it's bringing in a range of measures to help ease staff shortages. President Putin has threatened to attack new targets in Ukraine if Western countries supply Ukraine with longer-range missiles. Overnight, Russia carried out strikes on the capital, Kyiv. And an investigation has been launched into how a man died after being tasered by police and falling into the River Thames yesterday. The Independent Office for Police Conduct said a man in his 40s had died in hospital.
This is 5 Live Sport.
It's Wales 1, Ukraine 0, half-time at the Cardiff City Stadium. What an afternoon it's been in 5 Live Sport. Rafa Nadal celebrating his 14th French Open title at Roland Garros. Way too good for Norway's Casper Ruud in his first Grand Slam final. 6-3, 6-3, 6-love. And Rafa says the win, scarcely believable.
It's something that I for sure never believed. Be here at 36, being competitive again, playing in the most important court of my career. It means everything. It means a lot of energy to try to keep going. I just want to say merci beaucoup à tout le monde ici à Paris. I don't know what can happen in the future, but I'm gonna keep fighting to try to keep going. So many thanks. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
I wonder, does he walk off court, Russell Fuller, and think that's got to be my last one? Because you probably think the same wrongly as well.
Well, I don't think he thinks that, Colin. I think he knows that he cannot continue in this vein with pain-killing injections in his foot to enable him to play. But the hunger to win more, the hunger to continue travelling the world and playing the sport that he loves remains. He's given a few interviews to television. He's yet to do his main news conference. And what he has said is that he was unable to walk after his second-round match with Corentin Moutet in the first week of the championships. Had a pain-killing injection just to put the foot to sleep. So he's not been feeling his foot as he's been playing these matches, but it's a quality of life issue. He wants to try and find, if not a solution, a way of being able to make him play, not without pain, but with the pain managed, which he has been able to do for much of his career. But it's got to the point where it's quite extreme, and he just thinks, I don't think it's practical just to continue playing through the pain. There's a limit to how many cortisone injections you can take after all.
Russell, I've got a big plate here of strawberries and cream just for you. Come home, son. Come home. We're ready for Wimbledon. 3
Is it
weeks.
that time of the year
ready?
again?
Come on.
Bring it on.
Yes.
Best bargain at Wimbledon, the strawberries and cream. Some of the other ticket prices are quite expensive, but you can get a bowl of strawberries and cream, I think, for £2.50. Bring it on.
Get on that Eurostar. We'll see you soon. Right, let's head to North Carolina because the 5 Live sport doesn't stop. 9 p.m. in Sports Extra. Full coverage of the final round of the Women's US Open. Ian Carter is watching in. Bronte Law dared to dream towards the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, Stockport's Bronte Law. She's never been in this position before in the biggest of the women's golf championships, but she'll be in the penultimate group, going out with Lydia Ko at 7 under par in third place, 6 shots behind the leader Minjee Lee. But Bronte Law, really, this has come from nowhere. Rounds of 69, 69 and 68 to give herself a sniff of a chance. If she can get a couple of early birdies, she can put pressure on the final pairing going out. Minjee Lee, as I say, at 13 under par. Mina Haragai of the United States at 10 under par. It's asking an awful lot for Bronte Law, but this is a $10 million event. It is potentially the biggest paycheck for Bronte Law in her entire career. She is a class act. She's played Solheim Cup before. She's been short of form, but now she has shown what she's capable of. But it's always a big question for the final day of a major. Can she repeat that again? It's the biggest test of her career for this 27-year-old. But what an opportunity in third place heading into the final round.
9 p.m. Sports Extra. Ian Carter and the team will be there for you. And coming up next on BBC Radio 5 Live after the football, 6:06. The lines are open. 08085 909 693. ABB and Chris Sutton on duty. Alistair, you might have to have a breathalyzer test for anyone that comes on if Wales can get this done.
That's it, isn't it, Colin? On a night like tonight, it just could be an incredibly joyous 6:06. I know Chris Sutton is listening in as well. Chris, you've been watching that first half and listening to that first half, the commentary with Ian Dennis. If Wales do pull it off, if they do reach the World Cup for only the second time in their history, I know you'll be disappointed that Robbie Savage isn't on to share the celebrations with you tonight. But
well, I won't be disappointed. But go on.
Well, I was just going to say, Chris, they're a good team, Ukraine, aren't they? Wales have ridden their luck a little bit there.
Yeah, I think Hennessy's been Wales' best player. Ukraine have had opportunities, not taken them, but I think Wales could hit Ukraine on the counter-attack in the second half. And Gareth Bale, I mean, he's a big game player, isn't he? And I mean, where's he going to play next season, Bruce?
Yeah, that, Colin, I think is one of the questions for the listeners tonight, because if Wales get through and qualify and make the World Cup, obviously he's going to need first-team football to keep sharp and keep fresh. If they don't, what's he going to do? So 08085.
Would you take him at Liverpool, Colin?
Cardiff City. He'll play Cardiff City.
Yeah.
He will. He'll play Cardiff City. Have you not heard that rumour?
That's done, is it?
Have you not heard that rumour?
Yeah.
I've heard that big time.
Yeah,
I've heard that from insiders.
Yeah.
No one inside Cardiff, just people inside my car.
Good point, though. Just going to give the number again, Colin. So Chris and I take the calls until 9 o'clock. 08085 909 693 is the number to dial. And as you said, Colin, Grimsby Town fans and Solihull Moors fans as well after their day at the London Stadium, give us a bell. We'd love to hear from you.
100%. And after Northern Ireland's 4 goals in the second half against Cyprus, all the Green and White Army can call in as well. 08085 909 693 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. Well, listen, we know Wales made it gloriously and thrived at Euro 2016. They did it again 4 years later. But I would argue, as we head back to Sam Ricketts, Jane Ludlow and Ian Dennis, this is the biggest 45 minutes of Welsh national football of modern times. Can they get it done?
It most certainly is. And Rob Page looking to follow in the footsteps of Jimmy Murphy to lead Wales to a World Cup final, or World Cup finals. He hasn't made any changes at half-time. Neither has Alexandra Petrikov. As Wales, all in red in this second half that is back underway, are playing from right to left. Line up with Hennessy in goal, a back three of Ampadu, Rodon and Ben Davis, Roberts, Allen, Ramsey and Williams, Bale, Keeper Moore and Dan James. Ukraine, all in the royal blue. Bushchan is in goal, Karavayev, Zabani, Matvienko and Mikolenko the defence. Stepanenko is the defensive midfielder, Yarmolenko to the right, Malinovsky and Zinchenko central, Sihanikov on the left and Yaramchuk as the lone striker. Yarmolenko's own goal from a Gareth Bale free kick is the difference between the two sides, as Alexandra Petrikov just reacts a little bit down the touchline to Nico Williams, and he's told just to calm it down. And now here comes the bald-headed referee Antonio Macio Lahoz of Spain just to have a word. He was left emotionless after Hampden Park, where he dedicated that win for those men in the trenches. Petrikov, he was at times close to tears in his press conference yesterday as Yaramchuk tries to thread a ball through to Karavayev, but Karavayev had made a run in the opposite direction and the ball runs through and out for a goal kick. Well, the rain hasn't stopped falling all afternoon. That's still the case. Let's get the early thoughts of the second half from Sam Ricketts and Jane Ludlow.
Yep, second half has started very much like the first. Ukraine bright, Wales just trying to feel their way back into the game, not have much of possession as yet, as Wayne Hennessy gets ready to take a long goal kick. But we just need to get that rhythm back in our game again as quick as we can.
This is headed away by Mikolenko, headed forward. Jane, what are your early thoughts here?
I just think it's really interesting that we chose to go really direct and long from that goal kick, and I think that's definitely going to happen a lot in the second half. You know, as the longer it stays 1-0, it's been about percentages now for us going forwards and making sure we don't make any errors. No obvious changes for either team right now, structurally, organisationally.
But Wales are leading by a goal to nil. What a massive second half that lies ahead here at the Cardiff City Stadium as they seek to extend their unbeaten run here at home to 19 games. Zinchenko picks the ball up in the halfway line and Zabani passes the ball to Malinovsky. Karavayev on the right hand side, infield, Sihankov to Yarmolenko, back to Sihankov as twos continue to combine. Yarmolenko couldn't quite get there, and tiring, struggling to get back as the ball is played forward now to James. Stepanenko had a little nibble. James runs forward, now to Keeper Moore. Keeper Moore enters the penalty area, pulls it back, and arriving was Aaron Ramsey, and he couldn't guide it. He pulled it wide. Goal kick. It was an excellent move on the counter-attack.
Should have scored. Nothing else to say about that. He worked so hard to get in the box, Aaron Ramsey. I think Keeper Moore, he deceived the Ukraine goalkeeper. I think he deceived Aaron Ramsey. No, he just didn't expect him to cross the ball from the situation he was in. But he put it on a plate for him and couldn't convert the chance that was presented. Yeah,
as it's been pulled back to him, he's just opened his body up a bit too much. Unfortunately, gone a couple of yards wide of the post.
Zinchenko, an ambitious effort. He'd seen that Hennessy was off his line. For a moment there was an awkward little bit of a stumble, but it never had the elevation or indeed the power to trouble Wayne Hennessy. All in grey, under the grey skies in Cardiff, away towards our right hand side. BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on BBC Sounds. 6:06 coming up with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. That's at 7 o'clock on 08085 909 and 693. the Monday Night Club tomorrow from 7, and on Tuesday night we're live in Munich, Germany against England in the Nations League. Wednesday, Wales, Netherlands back here in the Nations League, and next Saturday, Ireland, Scotland in Dublin, and England against Italy in Molineux. So still so much live football to look forward to on BBC Radio 5 Live. But it's a free kick to Wales inside their own half as they lead. No, it's a free kick, he's giving it to Ukraine. Keeper Moore was ready to take it. Ukraine have now taken it quickly. Zinchenko, central area. Karavayev comes forward, joins the attack on the right-hand side. Plays it back to Malinovsky. Now with Zabani along the ground. Trail of water as the ball spins on its way through to Matvienko. Back it comes to this near side, the right, as Ukraine play from left to right, all in blue. Karavayev back towards Zabani. Mikolenko's making a run on that far side, the left, but it comes back with the right back. Karavayev cleared by Ramsey, up towards keeper Moore. Had such a vital role for Bournemouth in the latter stages of their promotion campaign from the Championship. No foul on Dan James. Here comes the referee. He takes no nonsense, this fella. Rob Page has spoken out of turn, and the Welsh manager's received a yellow card.
Referee's got this wrong. It's a foul by Dan James. What we were talking about at half-time, he's been fouled, but because of what we're talking about him going down too easy, he's tried his hardest to stay on his feet, flicked the ball on, and obviously didn't get the free kick, whereas really it should have been given, even though he tried to play on.
There was such a steely glare at one of the substitutes. I thought he was going to show somebody else on the bench another yellow card. He can be officious at times. Counted him a few occasions, not personally, thankfully. I'd have got a straight red.
To be honest, the only thing I'm thinking about Dan James right now is I thank God he's on the pitch for us, because he is one heck of a threat on a counter-attack.
Karavayev into Sihankov. Gareth Bale plays it back. Rodon outside the D of the penalty area for Wales. Out to Roberts on that far side. Wales all in red, playing from right to left. Here is James. Quickly out towards Nico Williams. Williams on this left-hand side. Left corner of the area. Just showed too much to Karavayev. Just rolled it one touch too many. And Karavayev will bring the ball away. Too far ahead of Malinovsky. James picks it back up. Karavayev once again is there for Ukraine, who only trail by a 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live, 7 minutes into the second half. Rob Page, he captained Wales once in his 41 caps. He said that was the proudest moment of his career. You look at his playing career, formerly of Watford and Sheffield United, probably his biggest match was the playoff final for Watford under the great and lovely fella of Graham Taylor that he was, when Watford beat Bolton at Wembley. This surpasses all of that. What an achievement it would be if Rob Page could take Wales to the World Cup finals, as Ukraine looked for an equaliser, but the cross from Mikolenko, too much on it, and one bounce and into the arms of Wayne Hennessy. But the nerves will only ratchet up between now and the 90-minute mark. We've still got a long way to go. 38 more minutes of football with such a slender advantage, unless Wales can settle those nerves with a second goal. As Bale on the attack comes in field to Ben Davies, central position. Ben Davies, left-footed ball. Ramsey was there. Ramsey goes for goal, blocked by Zabani, and will go out for a throw rather than a corner on that far side.
Still trying to pick out that back post area in crosses, this time Ben Davies into Aaron Ramsey. But you can just see whichever team has possession is just cutting through the opposition's midfield like they're not there.
It's a throw for Wales. It's a high one, it's a looping one, it's deep in the penalty area, and gathered in by Buschan. Underarm throw out to Karavayev. Back then to Zabani, back towards the goalkeeper, all in green, as a gentleman in a grey jacket and his black baseball cap turned the wrong way round, waves a Ukrainian flag in front of us here, low down in the main stand at the Cardiff City Stadium, as the Ukrainian support in their allocated section, the 1,800 away fans, so much yellow and blue, raise their Ukrainian voices to try and urge on the Ukrainian footballers. Ramsey goes to ground, no free kick, referee signals it's a throw. Karavayev wants to take it.
Some people will question the referee's decisions in this game, but in a sense it's been great because it's let the game flow. There's such an intensity to this game.
There is. Intense, full of passion, so much emotion, and a wonderful noise. Yarmolenko. Man over is Mikolenko. It's an early ball in. Sihankov blocked by the legs of the goalkeeper Hennessy. Yaremchuk was also there as well, but not for the first time. Hennessy with a vital save.
Yeah, again, he's used his big frame there, got his studs to it. The rebound was given off, the flag went up for offside. Luckily it went wide anyway. But again, Ukraine shifting the ball from right to left, low ball into the middle. Wayne Hennessy producing another save in this game.
Sihankov, who's been playing out left, coming again into a central area. Throughout the game, Jane, Ukraine have caused Wales problems by doing that. You'd think, by the laws of science, and probability, they're going to get one opportunity by doing that.
Well, to be fair, the first 10 minutes of the second half, I thought Wales were coping with those areas far better, with their wide centre-back stepping in and affecting the game a lot more defensively, but that phase there obviously didn't highlight that.
There's going to be chances, Jane, isn't there, at both ends?
Oh, I got goosebumps. I think I've had goosebumps now for the last 55 minutes.
We're only 10 minutes into the second half, and the electronic scoreboard either end of this Cardiff City Stadium on such a dull and wet afternoon says Wales 1, Ukraine 0. Downward header by Ampadu goes out of play. It's Ukraine throw. Stepanenko wants to take it quickly. Now inside to Zinchenko. Zinchenko tussling for the ball. Allen, who was booked early on, wins it. Up towards James, short of the halfway line. Away from Bale it goes, and Ukraine are back in possession. All in blue along the ground. Ramsey, referee gives the free kick. Ramsey adjudged to have just clipped the heels of Sihankov right in front of the referee. Ukrainian free kick taken, chipped out to Karavayev on this near side. Nice touch off the right foot. Back it goes once again. Alexander Petrakov trying to whip up the pocket of Ukrainian supporters behind him here in this main stand. No shortage of vocal support from the Ukrainians inside this stadium, and they get another throw right-hand side, level with the penalty area. Zinchenko said earlier in the week that they will fight. They will never give up. Looked like handball from Yarmolenko, spotted by the assistant referee. Free kick to Wales. Their resolve will certainly be tested as they've got to come from a goal down.
Yeah, they will indeed. Wales have to use their experience here. Stay in the game. Don't make it easy for them. Don't give cheap balls away. And when they can get possession of the ball, at the minute they're just giving it back too quickly all the time. They're not getting a breather in possession.
Listening to the World Football Podcast during the week, when Ukraine took the lead in midweek, there was an air raid sirens going off back in their homeland. That puts so much of it into perspective. They've continued to receive messages from the front line. That is their source of inspiration. That's why this Ukrainian side just will not give up, as Wales know that they're going to have to fight hard for the next 32 minutes as they lead by a goal to nil. Zabani to Karavayev on the halfway line. Karavayev infield. Zinchenko, man over, forward ball. Sihankov into Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko couldn't guide it goalwards. Ben Davis got there. That was brilliant defending by Ben Davis. Sihankov twisting and turning, drops to his knees, still tussling for the ball. Down on the ground it goes, and then Roberts digs the ball away. Keeper Moore, it'll be a Wales throw on that far side. I think Yarmolenko thought he was in there.
It's a great combination play centrally again. You know, their awareness when they're in and around the D is great. Thankfully for us, at the moment, the detail on the pass wasn't what it needed to be for Ukraine.
86 appearances and 13 goals for West Ham in 4 seasons. He's going back to his homeland to protect his family. He only actually started 17 out of 145 games in the Premier League during his time. He almost had an opportunity to redeem himself. Not that he needs to redeem himself. It was, of course, his goal that set them on their merry way against Scotland in midweek. But it'll be heartbreaking for him if it was his goal. That means that it's Wales who deny Ukraine by 1-0. Ball over the top. See, Hancock gives chase. Out of play it goes for a throw. Half an hour to go. Wales 1, Ukraine 0.
Just looking down at the bench, you're just thinking, is there a substitution coming? Robert Page going down talking to his coaching staff. I think Harry Wilson's out warming up. Is it Joe Morrell out with him as well? Just trying to think, is he going to try and bolster that midfield up? Listen, you don't want to say, well, that's it, we'll just defend for the next half an hour, but just bolster that midfield, those areas up in front of the three centre halves.
Here is Yarmolenko, central area. Karovayev with a cross, low in, goes behind, corner kick. There was just a chant there, and I'm going to get your thoughts on that in a minute, the two of you, because on a day which is so much emotion and passion, that was a poignant moment that the Welsh supporters were just singing the name of their former national manager, Gary Speed. There was only one Gary Speed, was the chant. But let's deal with this corner kick first of all. In it comes now, easily headed out by Rodon. Break on now for Wales. Ramsey goes through the middle. Keeper Moore taken away by Zabani and back towards the goalkeeper. But for Gary Speed, who did so much, for him to be remembered now in the midst of a game where there's so much at stake, brilliant acknowledgement, Jane.
Yeah, and it's something, thankfully, that the Welsh public and obviously the fans here today have continued to do. Obviously horrific at that time, but he started this. He started this cycle of success for the Wales national team, and we're very thankful for him.
Much missed, fondly remembered.
Indeed. I'll just let this play tell out, and I'll just tell a quick story on that.
Bale to Ramsey. Ramsey dinks it through. James goes for the lob. It's dropping, and it's touched over the crossbar by Bushchan. Very alert goalkeeping. He might have jarred his ankle again, but the deflection took it over the top. It was actually dropping in, and Bushchan, with a vital touch, patted it behind for a corner.
Great counter-attack by Wales, through into Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey with a beautiful little flick over the defender as he came in to tackle him. Then Dan James just swung his left foot. Good block, keeper had to put it over.
Corner kick to Wales, who lead by 1-0 on 5 Live, 62 minutes played. Ramsey to take it far side the right. They're playing from right to left. Still the rain continues to fall heavily in the Welsh capital. Ramsey, out-swinging corner. Davis up from the back. James couldn't control that bouncing ball, right corner of the area. Gets it back from Ramsey. The two continue to pass the ball between themselves. Little flick inside by Ramsey. James joining the attack is Ampadu, does a little bit of a step over. Stopped though by the blue of Ukraine. And now Zinchenko can play it forward. Break on for Ukraine. Uranchuk forced out wide. Oh, Nico Williams, did he leave one on Uranchuk there? No. Back it goes to Hennessy.
The volume goes up again by another tackle. Just if there's a little lull, I'll tell you about Gary Speed. So his very first meeting when he took over as manager, we stayed at a hotel. I was actually out injured. He called me in, and the whole purpose of the meeting was to qualify for a World Cup. That was his very first meeting.
Bale is away from Zabani, who dived in. Bale pulls it back, cut out by Matvienko at the near post. It's getting very, very stretched. This game now, so much on the line. Malinovsky comes on the inside of Ramsey, who slipped. Malinovsky runs forward. Zinchenko now inside the centre circle. Out to go to Mykolenko, the left back, midway through the Wales half. Just a slender margin for Wales. Stepanenko. They call the Welsh support the red wall. They find their voices to make sure that the Welsh defence is not breached. Malinovsky. Sihanikov. Mykolenko. Malinovsky. Sihankov once again, edging his way forward. Floats it forward. Williams tucks in, heads it away. Moore back there helping out. Karovayev nicks the ball back towards Matvienko, off his chest, and brings it down.
I'm still looking at Robert Page. Got to make a change within the next 5 minutes, I'd imagine. Got to shore up that middle area of the pitch. Ukraine are coming on. They've got nothing to lose. They're throwing more men forward, more men and more men.
Sam Ricketts, 52 caps for Wales. Jane Ludlow, 61 caps as a player for Wales. And of course, the former Wales team manager for the women here on BBC Radio 5 Live with 65 minutes played. Neither side has yet made a change. Yarmolenko to Zinchenko, bounces off the wet surface quite high up the chest of the Premier League title winner Zinchenko of Manchester City. Stepanenko forward, back to Zinchenko once again. Yarmolenko's gone central. Karovayev is crying out for the ball in space on this right hand side. Zabani, the central defender, joins the attack. Back inside to Malinovsky, turns, looks up, dark-haired midfielder, lays it short and square. Zinchenko back to Malinovsky. Malinovsky waits, shoots from distance. Malinovsky drops wide. Worth a dig, left-footed. Hennessy was flat-footed. It's a goal kick, 1-0 Wales.
He wasn't getting there, was he? If it had been on target, it was in. Wayne Hennessy had a desperate look to his left-hand side. He was grateful to see it go wide.
Oh, that's not far away. Just watching the replay then. You're right, Hennessy he's planted, isn't he? He isn't reacting to that at all. Oh, thank God. Thank God that's gone, what, maybe 2 centimetres wide of the post.
Alexander Petrakov turns away in frustration. He knew it was close. We're approaching the midway point of the second half. It's on a knife edge. 1-0 to Wales.
I agree with what Sam was saying. I think there could be changes now in the next few minutes because, you know, we were banked in the edge of box there, 5-4, and then one, 30-40 yards away in the halfway line. But okay, if you've got kind of midfielders in the 4, I think, but we've got 2 front men in that 4, and I'm just getting a little bit concerned about that press in midfield areas when we're that deep on the pitch.
Yarmolenko, central area. Stepanenko now runs forward. Stepanenko with a cross over the head of Yaramchuk. Welsh player has gone down there in that challenge with Yaramchuk. Clearance goes out of play. Now have to be a stoppage. It was Rodon who'd gone down. There's a suggestion that Yaramchuk caught him. Referee though allows play to get back underway. So the VAR must have had a look at that just to make sure there was no violent conduct, as Zinchenko now has it. Midway through the Wales half, Malinovsky. Mykolenko provides the width on that left-hand side. Inside, Yarmolenko lets it run through. Stepping out of defence was Ramsey. Bale was the one caught in possession. Cleared then away by Ampadu. Headed forward by Stepanenko. We're now midway through the second half on BBC Radio 5 Live. And Wales have lost the ball. See Hancock just couldn't carry it into the edge of the area. And there was Roberts to play the ball away. Bale clears up towards Moore. Moore directs his header. And then it's played back by Matvienko. All the way it goes back. If it wasn't tense before, it is now.
Yeah, we mentioned first half, latter stages first half, when he goes up to the big man, when he goes up to keep him, he's got to hold it for us. And that was another example of where it's just bouncing off him.
Trying to head it on first time, just relax, bring it down on your chest, then bring your opposition to play. Again, if he had done that, we were in a good position to break. Dan James on his left. Robert Page actually shouted straight onto him. As I look down and see Brennan Johnson getting stripped off. Young man with a lot of energy.
Zinchenko. Mudryk looks like he's going to be coming on for Ukraine as well. Now, he was a real live wire against Scotland when he came off the bench. Sidorchuk is another player as Zinchenko gets round the back, and Zinchenko, he wasn't going for goal. He's made a run in the right-hand side of the penalty area and left-footed, I think on the full, has played it back across the penalty area, and he's saying, why didn't anybody try and attack it?
He should have gone for goal, shouldn't he? Caught it pretty well, he should have gone for goal.
I think he's thought he was at Man City, putting it back across goal, thinking that he's going to have Sterling, Foden or whoever just tapping it in from 2 yards away at the back post.
Sidorchuk and Shaparenko, 2 very experienced midfielders, are going to be coming on. And it is going to be Malinovsky who comes off for Shaparenko. And then the other change is Stepanenko for Sidorchuk. Like for like in many ways. And not surprisingly, they have made those changes from Petrikov. You can only admire the levels of resolve from these Ukrainian players. I actually thought that they might struggle today from an emotional point of view, a mental point of view, after the rigours of what they'd experienced at Hamden. But no, they just keep on ploughing on, and they were buoyed by a message from President Zelensky, who said, "You've provided 2 hours of happiness that we are unaccustomed to. We're still fighting in each of our own fronts. We fight, we endure, we win." And that is a message that they received after that victory against Scotland, as Brennan Johnson waits to come on for Wales. Fresh after, of course, his success with Nottingham Forest in the playoff final last weekend. Free kick to Ukraine, 1-0, and we have under 20 minutes remaining on 5 Live. And Dan James is the player who's coming on.
Yeah, surprises me a little bit that. I think his pace would have been very good on the break. Young Brennan, go on, Jane, sorry.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. I was expecting Kiefer more, to be fair. Not in the sense that, Kiefer's had a bad game in any shape or form, but when you think of the threat that Dan James would still have in the latter stages, I think it'd be useful to keep him on the pitch.
I think the one thing Kiefer Moore does have in a situation like this is height to defend set pieces.
Well, they might need that height now for this free kick. It's midway through the Wales half. Ukraine look for an equaliser, left-footed from Zinchenko. Headed away by the Wales defence, and sliding across was Sidorchuk, and it will be a Wales throw on that far side.
Brilliant, Joe
Allen, wasn't it?
He has just sprinted 40 yards just to get the ball was going out. He sprinted 40 yards, so Wales got a throw in, not Ukraine. I didn't know his little legs could go that quick.
Joe Allen, 32 years of age. Last opportunity for the players such as Joe Allen, Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale. And they're 18 tantalising minutes away from taking Wales to our first World Cup final since 1958. A World Cup, by the way, incidentally, where the Soviet Union made their World Cup debut, and players like Voinov, Mashelichenko and Ostrovsky were 3 Ukrainians part of that 22-man squad. Actually knocks out England as they reach the quarter-finals. Ukraine are attacking. Shaparenko, cross-fired in and caught at the near post from Mikolenko's effort by Wayne Hennessy, high above his head. 1-0 Wales.
Great movement and combination play from Ukraine again, the attacking third. The thing that's missing for them right now is their final pass. It's great for Wales that is missing, but we're living dangerously right now.
Hennessy with a clearance, edge of the area, high downfield. Bale twists his body to try and guide the header out towards Roberts. We're going to be making another change. Dovbyk and Zubkov are the 2 players who've been warming up, as Petrikov looking just to try and create that one opportunity for Ukraine, as Ramsey picks up on the loose ball, cut out though. Shaparenko, now the dark-haired midfielder, runs forward and has got space to run into. Yarmolenko would be maybe one of the players to come off. Yuramchuk, you would think, would be the other. Here is Shaparenko to Zinchenko. He waits, plays it back. Now with Sidorchuk. Shaparenko takes over. Wales have got everybody back, bar keeper Moore. Mikolenko joins the attack on the left-hand side. Welsh voices create the noise. Karabayev, right-hand side, back towards Sidorchuk, looking to silence the Welsh crowd. Yarmolenko, no way through. Ball chipped back out to Karabayev. Ukraine being patient. Karabayev enters the penalty area, keeps his balance. Sidorchuk still playing in front of Wales. Then the shot from Shaparenko, right-footed, wayward effort, goal kick. The cheers will tell you it was a goal kick. 16 minutes remain, 1-0.
The supporters are playing their part now. We're getting song after song, trying to carry this team over the line. Still looking down, thinking, are we going to see more changes come? 2 more coming for Ukraine. Will Wales react?
Dovbyk, who scored that last kick of the game, actually, with the 3rd goal against Scotland. He is the player who's going to be coming on. Incidentally, when he's replaced Yaramchuk, he's actually scored against Bosnia and Scotland in his last 2 internationals. And Mudryk is the player who's going to come on now. He'll go out wide and will provide a lot of energy. Gareth Bale plays it out to Roberts. Roberts with a cross, over the head of Moore, strikes the post. Johnson hit it right-footed on the volley, left-hand side of the penalty area. The goalkeeper was beaten. Ukraine survived. That would have taken Wales to Qatar. Excellent technique from Brennan Johnson.
There was another cross to the back post over keeper Moore's head. Found his way to Brennan Johnson, who's on a run.
Johnson skips inside 2 challenges, forward to Ramsey, scoops the ball towards the far post. Gareth Bale saved by the goalkeeper and cleared away. Wales have had 2 chances in the space of 60 seconds, but they still only lead 1-0.
You'd have put your money on him. When he arrived at the far post inside the 6-yard, you know, Gareth Bale, a little bit of space, you'd have put your money on this ball going in the back of the net. Unfortunately, it hasn't. Good reactional save, and then defenders reacting quicker than the red shirts.
Buschan, we've talked about his handling. On that occasion, he did just enough. From the throw, flicked on and onto the roof of the net and out for a goal kick. Here comes the change. Sometimes you'll both know about international football, how sometimes it can change with fine margins. Whether that was the moment or whether it means still at 1-0, Ukraine could still have one opportunity. Dovbyk comes on for Yaramchuk, and Sihankov is the player to go off for Mudryk.
We've a slight advantage, that's all at the minute. Brennan Johnson's made a very good impact since he's come on, hitting the post and then setting up the chance there for Gareth.
Here is Dovbyk, straight away, thrust into the action. Powerful looking striker, holds the ball up. Karavayev, the right back, with the cross. Zinchenko gets a little touch. Sidorchuk will play it out to Mykolenko. Still, Yarmolenko's own goal is the difference. Zinchenko tries to scoop it forward. Mudryk, pulled back. Yarmolenko with a shot blocked. Still the danger remains. Downward header by Karavayev into the side netting. Hennessey's gone down. It's a goal kick. If you're a Welsh supporter, or indeed you're willing on Ukraine, you don't have to be Ukrainian to do that. I would think that they've got universal support in the majority of across the world. But these next 12 minutes are going to test every emotion, regardless of which side you're cheering on.
I just don't know how they haven't scored that. To be fair, I'm really glad they haven't, but I don't know how they haven't.
Tell you what, Ben Davies must be one of the best players I've ever seen at blocking shots. He gets in his body in the way week after week, whether it be at Spurs or Wales. He's done 3 unbelievable blocks so far today, and that's him again, stopping another goal. It's as good as a centre-forward scoring a hat-trick, his blocks, let me tell you. They are goal-bound efforts that he blocks within his 6-yard box. 12
minutes of normal time remain. Wales are still leading by a goal to 0. Karavayev to Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko was replaced against Scotland. The captain on this occasion does not want to come off. At times he's looked a little bit tired, as there are lines of stewards now just making their way in front of the Ukrainian support, and in fact all the way around the Cardiff City Stadium. There was a message actually from the FA of Wales that said pitch invasion, anyone entering the pitch will be subject to criminal proceedings. As Wales are 11 minutes away from creating history. Bale heads it on, as does Johnson. Karavayev on the half volley clears, headed back by Joe Allen. Zabani penned inside his own half, down by the corner flag. Which decision will it go? It's a Ukrainian throw, much to the annoyance of the Welsh supporters in that left corner. Rob Page, the bald-headed Welsh manager, patrolling his technical area. Makes you wonder what's going through his head at the moment as Wales edge toward glory. Sidorchuk. Zinchenko able to turn midway through the Wales half. Mudryk, blonde-haired midfielder, inside. Stepanenko plays the ball back. Shot fired in by Sidorchuk from distance, and Hennessy saves it, pats it down and dives the ball forward. The lines are open to 606 08085 909 693 to speak to Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. Not just on this game, although I'm sure that there will be a lot of supporters wishing to talk about this contest for all sorts of reasons, but also Grimsby Town fans, after coming from behind to beat Solihull Moors to reclaim a place in the Football League after a 2-1 victory at the London Stadium. Ukraine still trail 1-0. Yarmolenko chips it forward towards Dovbyk, headed away by Rodon, cleared away. Sidorchuk. Now it's with Shaparenko. Out to Karavayev on the right-hand side. Back to Shaparenko. Sidorchuk is also there as well. He plays it back to Zabani. Fullbacks pushed on. Wales have every red shirt back behind the ball. Matvienko carries it midway through the Wales half. And under 10 minutes of normal time remain here in Cardiff. It's tight, and it is very, very tense. Ball spread out towards Karavayev. Karavayev rolls the ball inside. Sidorchuk tried the little flick towards Yarmolenko, blocked by Ramsey. Ramsey has a second chance, up towards Moore. Johnson was going through the middle. Moore couldn't turn. Has some support from Williams, splashing his way through the mud. Williams comes away with the ball. Sidorchuk trying in pursuit. And it will be a free kick for a foul on Williams.
Nico Williams did amazingly well there. He just managed to actually nutmeg the Ukrainian player and get back up on his feet on the other side. But it's not the skill, it's just the fact that he gets the team up the pitch. He relieves pressure. You can see all the players now grabbing drinks of water, grabbing energy gels. Joe Allen's ripping the one off now with his teeth as he squirts it in. Joe Rodon's done likewise. Gareth Bale's just run off the other side of the pitch and done the same.
Harry Wilson waits to come on. That's Sam Ricketts with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live, as well as Jane Ludlow. Ball will go out of play for a goal kick. And it is Gareth Bale who is going to be coming off. Listen to the ovation for Gareth Bale. The Welsh captain. He scored some outstanding goals. He scored memorable goals. His involvement today that led to the Yarmolenko own goal could be one of the most important of his illustrious career. That was some ovation for the talisman of Wales. Rob Page said yesterday that you've got to learn to adapt. There were slight concerns when Gareth Bale didn't appear in the press conference in person. He did so via Zoom, but he was still following his individual training regime. And that's what Rob Page said he's allowed the more senior players to do. However, Ukraine are attacking. Cross come down. What a save by Hennessy! Dovbyk with a header. Karavayev fires it in, and it goes behind for a corner kick. That was a world-class save from Wayne Hennessy.
The keeper who's done it over 100 times for his country, still doing it now. Big leap to his left-hand side, clawed the ball. Looked like it was going in. Clawed it out of that top corner.
He just filled that goal then. Absolutely filled it. I thought this was in. Honestly thought this was in. Absolutely fantastic save.
Such strong wrist from his left hand. It was a powerful header from Dovbyk, who climbed high. Yet Hennessy was equal to it. Certainly a very strong contender for man of the match. Zinchenko with a corner. Didn't beat the first man, no elevation, blocked by Ramsey. Hennessy, that was an outstanding stop. and it preserves the lead that Wales now look to build on. Ramsey, who's taken over the captain's armband, charging forward. Wilson, edge of the area, caught by Mudryk. It's going to be a free kick to Wales. If only Gareth Bale was still on the pitch, because it's fractionally right of centre. It would certainly suit the left foot of Bale. However, he's not, and with 5 and a bit minutes remaining, we'll see who can replace him as Wales lead 1-0.
It's just seeing through this period, isn't it? Got to be secure defensively. He's on to break, but you can't overcommit going forward. A second goal, yes, we want it, but don't leave ourselves vulnerable to that counter-attack. But now we have a free opportunity, free shot at goal. Harry Wilson putting the ball down, standing over it.
So Harry Wilson, who's the youngest footballer for Wales, has an opportunity with this set piece. Direct free kick, left-footed, into the wall, behind though it goes for a corner kick. Under 5 minutes remain. 5 minutes that may well feel like 5 hours. Such is the slender scoreline as Wilson runs across in no real hurry. Wales, Wales, Wales is the deafening chant. Rob Page has a swig of water to try and calm his nerves. Wilson delivers the corner, it's high, it's over the head of Moore. Johnson, both sides have had chances in this second half. 6:06 is coming up with Ali Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693. In comes the cross, headed away on the edge of the area. Mudryk heads it forward. Little touch there by Shaparenko. Dovbyk fouled inside the centre circle. Free kick to Ukraine. They will not give up the cause, I can guarantee you that. 4 minutes remain of normal time. The amount of substitutions, you'll be looking at another 4 minutes as well. Zinchenko plays it forward. Mudryk's round the back. Mudryk into the penalty area. Cut back. Yarmolenko cleared away by Allen. Shot fired in from distance. And saved by Hennessy yet again. He has been a rock.
You should be calm, because when they're choosing to shoot from 35 yards, that's saying a lot, to be fair, saying how well we're defending.
I don't want to defend any shots, but I'll take them from 35 yards, over 6 yards, 100 all day.
Wayne Hennessy at 35 years of age with another assured stop. There's Ben Davies, who's down, getting some treatment. As the Welsh supporters in front of us here in the Cardiff City Stadium rise to their feet. What a noise!
I've taken one side of my headphones off to appreciate the noise and the volume. With our headphones you don't always hear it, but second half, I look around the stadium, everyone stood up behind the goal, opposite side of the pitch. Arslan all stood up supporting the players.
I was actually in Cardiff in 2003 for the Euro playoff against Russia after a 0-0 first leg in Moscow. Russia prevailed at the Millennium Stadium, as it was known then, by a goal to 0. There was a Spanish referee that night. But here it is 1-0 to Wales. They've qualified for European Championships 2016, where of course they reached the last four, and 2020. But 1958 was their only ever appearance at a World Cup final. Talk about the times where they failed at the final hurdle. Rob Page trying to rouse his players. Please don't take me home is the chant from the Welsh support. A stadium which has such a raucous backing. Karavayev amidst the din for Ukraine. Yarmolenko. Mykolenko left side of the penalty area. Mykolenko's cross won't drop to Yarmolenko. Sidorchuk with a volley. Couldn't keep it down. He drops to his knees. It was a high effort. Goal kick. Wales still 1-0.
Crosses are starting to come into the box. Make sure you get your man. Make sure you block him. Make sure if you can't head it, he doesn't head it. Good header out again, then flying up front, blocked the shot. Luckily went over the bar into about row W.
Wales stand on the brink of history. And these Wales supporters know all it. They know all about it.
To be honest, I'm becoming speechless.
What a racket. It's an atmosphere that sends a tingle and a shiver down the spine. Very, very soon, we're about to find out how much the fourth official is going to put up. There'll be 5 minutes. 5 minutes of stoppage time. 5 minutes that stand in the way of Wales reaching a World Cup final for the first time since 1958. Ramsey giving chase. Sidorchuk, the number 5 for Ukraine, back towards Bushchan. The Ukrainian national anthem translates into Ukraine has not yet perished. Luck will still smile on his brothers Ukrainians. Will Luck smile on them in the closing stages? Will they fashion one more opportunity to break Welsh hearts? Will Wales stand firm? Questions that are going to be answered in these next closing minutes in injury time. Shaparenko out to Karavayev. Yarmolenko, who's lasted the full game. Karavayev waits, pulls it back. Yarmolenko, shot charged down. Yarmolenko has a second chance, cleared away by Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson is injured in the process. Everything is on the line here for Wales and Ukraine. A word from the Spanish referee with his assistant. It's a Ukraine throw. Taken. Shaparenko. Pulled back by Karavayev. Zinchenko. Plays the ball out. Back it goes to Zinchenko. Mudryk with the cross. Zabani up from the back. Cleared away by Wales. Ramsey runs into Zinchenko. Sidorchuk, forward ball, Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko under 30 yards out from goal. Shaparenko, Zinchenko. Mikolenko with a cross into the box. Headed away by Williams, only as far as Sidorchuk. Yarmolenko does a little step over. Yarmolenko over the top. Right-footed, couldn't keep it down, goal kick.
Hennessy had that covered all day anyway.
On Hennessy's form, I'm sure he would.
The Welsh player goes down with cramp after every effort to try and block a shot as it goes out, goes safely over the crossbar. Come on, manage the game, Wales.
There's going to be another change, and it's going to be Williams who's coming off, and Rhys Norrington-Davies of Sheffield United is going to be coming on.
Defensively very good today, Nico. Generally his attacking plays is a positive part of his game, but today he's had to defend very well. Good positions for the back post, head in and blocks. Played his part for sure.
By my watch we have 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining. And Wales are heading to Qatar for that much coveted 13th and final European spot from the European nations. Unless Ukraine can summon up one last final thrust. Zabani is overhit it. It's been such a long wait. Never beaten Ukraine in the previous 3 meetings. 90 seconds remain. You'll know when the final whistle sounds. There's a Ukrainian lady in front of me who already is overcome by emotion as the Ukrainian players still try and fight for every last challenge, but a little bit overzealous in the challenge. Mudryk is shown a yellow card.
Yeah, they're certainly not giving in. They're giving everything they've got. But let me tell you, so do this Wales team. They do it game after game. They literally put their bodies on the line, whether it be blocks on the receiving end of fouls, heading, whatever it is. This team of players, or the squad, squeeze every last ounce of effort and ability out of this group, which has got us, what are we now, 35 seconds away.
The Welsh supporters know, inside the last 30 seconds, maybe only now, is the tension starting to ease for a dewy-eyed Jane Ludlow.
Well, aren't we thankful for our world-class game changers?
Wayne Hennessy has certainly played his part. The Welsh support have played their part. The celebrations, the luminous stewards of the jackets line the perimeter of the ground, trying to prevent what will be a pitch invasion. But my eye watch, the 5 minutes are up. Deafening whistles. Ukraine charge forward from the back. This has got to be it for one final chance. Karavayev switches play. A Ukrainian flag flies in defiance in front of us, but a sliding challenge means it's a Wales throw, and that's celebrated as much as a goal. That surely must be it.
Must be it now. Not quite sure where the referee's getting this extra time from. He's now saying it's a throw into Wales. We're well over 37, 38, 39. Come on, referee, blow that whistle.
They're ready to celebrate. Throw from Wales, headed on by keeper Moore. Downfield it goes! There it is! Wales rejoice, and they head for one man, Wayne Hennessy. The long wait has spun generations in a country steeped in myths and legends. They banish the notion that they will fall at the final hurdle for a World Cup. And under Rob Page, it's a chapter in their history that will be read over and over again. Page and his players have achieved legendary status in Wales, their first World Cup since 1958. But spare a thought for Ukraine. They've done their country so proud in the most difficult of circumstances. But it's Wales who are heading to Qatar.
I watched the Jubilee last night. I saw the Prince of Wales, Weaver King. His name's Gareth.
Jane Ludlow, what are your thoughts?
I am speechless. You know, it's been such a... something we've tried to achieve, you know, over many years, and it's just absolutely fantastic. For obviously all the guys who've been involved in this over many years, but for everybody. Think ahead now the next few months, it's just going to be fantastic. If you're involved in football in Wales, this is immense.
The 64-year wait is over. It is such a momentous occasion. Can you put it into words?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can quite appreciate what has gone on behind the scenes, what's built up over all these years. And it's not, listen, it's for individuals, it's for the country, it's for everyone. This has been a lot of hard work. There's a lot of talent on that pitch, but there's a lot of heart as well. There's a lot of heart behind the scenes. And I said it just before the end of the game, as a group of players, I think they've squeezed every last little bit of ounce and effort out to achieve what they have done. And they've not just done it today, they've done it in the previous games, in the previous European Championships. They have got their absolute maximum out of this squad, and they deserve the plaudits they're going to get, and they deserve the journey they're going to get going to Qatar.
Tears of joy, but also tears of sadness. Yarmolenko in floods of tears, and in fact there is "Together we are stronger," which of course is the Welsh motto, but it's in the Ukrainian colours. As the Ukrainian players make their way to the away support on that far side. Meanwhile, Colin, the Welsh players, the backroom staff, the manager, celebrating inside the centre circle. What an emotional evening.
We're obviously talking about Wales, but Ukraine can go can go away from this game with their heads held very, very high. I thought they played very, very well. Another day could have easily scored a couple of more goals, or could have scored a couple of goals, sorry. They certainly shouldn't walk out of here with their heads down. Like I said, I thought they played very, very well, but it just wasn't meant to be today. Today was Wales' day. It was Gareth's day again, and off to Qatar we go.
They said they were inspired by the front line. They came up against the Wales side with a goalkeeper in inspired form in Wayne Hennessy.
Yeah, and Ukraine obviously will rue those chances they missed in the first half, but you just name one of the players there who's, well, he's kept us in it, hasn't he? You know, that top-hand save was immense. And I think, look, you can look across the whole squad, the whole group of players, they've been immense. I think not just in this campaign, in previous campaigns. We're in, you know, the 10-year cycle at the moment of success. And hopefully it'll continue and continue now. You know, the investment that'll come in from being in a World Cup, hopefully will keep growing.
The Ukrainian supporters are acknowledging the Ukrainian players by doing the thunderclap in the far corner. But it's not just the Ukrainian supporters, it's the Welsh fans as well who were joining in.
Yeah, the Welsh players now behind the Ukrainian players, clapping the Ukrainian supporters and players as well.
Colin, very, very emotional scenes here, but it's Wales who head to Qatar. They've beaten Ukraine 1-0.
It absolutely is, and while all the Welsh players were in the centre circle, there was one player who was not there, and that's their captain Gareth Bale, who spent 3-4 minutes, a red shirt amongst the blue, and went round every single member of that Ukrainian setup and applauded every single one of those 3,500 Ukrainian fans in that crowd. That Ian Dennis is what a captain does.
It speaks volumes as a person. We spoke many times about his qualities as a player, but as a person, you know, I've been fortunate enough to know Gareth since he was 16, and he hasn't changed. He has been the best player in the world, most expensive player in the world, but you wouldn't know it when he comes and plays for his country. If he's in that canteen, treatment room, training field, he is just another player. He doesn't keep himself away from anyone. He actually makes it his job to go and speak to everyone.
Wow,
like that touch of class you just see there, just sums it up.
We've got about 10 minutes to chat about this, if in any way I'll be able to hear you as the song goes up again. Listen to that, I Love You Baby, all round the Cardiff City Stadium. Jane Ludlow will get to the football, but just talk to me about your phone pinging with friends and family and former teammates who all are red tonight, who all can't believe in your lifetime you've finally seen this.
Yeah, it's just surreal. You know, look, I had a good feeling today about this, and I was hopeful, but it's just surreal. We've actually got there. You know, fans and players and staff have been talking about it for so many years, you know, whether that's on the female or the male side, and yeah, we've got there. I think it's a strange one, I will be honest with you. I'm standing here, emotionally it's really strange, because we've got the elation, and we've got the team now running down the bottom end. That's why the level has just gone up. They just dived towards the fans. But you've got the elation for us as a nation now, and football context of it, and then you've got the war context. And it's a really strange, emotional place to be right now, because yes, I'm happy. Obviously, we're all ecstatic. But it's really strange. I can't give you another word for this right now. It's a really strange feeling.
I'll give you the word for what you've just said, as someone from a small nation who's went through these rare peaks. Proper fan. That's what you just described right there, the view of a proper fan. Jane, Sam Ricketts, I've got, sorry to bring it down, but it's been 6 minutes since Wales qualified for a World Cup. What a monkey to get off your back, eh?
I've already booked my ticket. That was a long 6 minutes that I've been on.
We'll get to the game and we'll talk about the game, but Ian Dennis, we just look at these scenes right now, and that speaks more than any analysis that we're going to do. That's what it's about.
Every one of the backroom staff, every one of the players, Rob Page, they're all out there towards the left-hand side. And in fact, there's a hoarding that has been erected that says thank you, the Red Wall, because they've learnt from their previous errors, the FA of Wales.
Yeah.
Thinking of Anfield 77, Ninian Park in 85. They could have sold out the Principality Stadium 10 times over. But this is the home of Welsh football. This is where they've gone 19 games undefeated, and this is that special connection and that bond you cannot replicate.
Ian, I'm so disappointed you didn't try and pronounce the Welsh words, not the English version of what you've just said that's on the pitch right now.
Well, if you wouldn't sing earlier on, I'm not going to do that.
Go on, have a go.
No.
All those Welsh fans, it says Diolch i'r Walgoch.
Yes.
I'm glad I never as well.
I'm glad you didn't as well. Can we just say these Welsh fans who before the game were immaculate, during the game were immaculate as well, and that respect that was from the away end and the home fans was 100%, and also they stayed off the pitch on what is one of the greatest days in Welsh football history. You do not need to cross that white line to have a good time. And you know, this is special circumstances, Ian Dennis. It's a different type of game because it was against Ukraine with the horrors of what's happening at home. But why can't it goes to show that you can have passion in football, you can have great atmosphere without that moronic minority.
Well, there was one or two who tried to get on, but I think that the stewards, they must have been coming from either Nice Rugby